Hello, Femina. Today I want to show you the new Trickle features of our version 0.3.9 that we just released this week. The good thing is that you're not yet so familiar with Trickle, so I can just explain these features to you, and hopefully it helps also other people listening into that. I'm very excited about multi-select.
Okay.
We try to make this more useful than selections usually are. As Trickle being your memory or digital brain, having Trickle open during a call, for example, or during a conversation or during research, looking up and selecting things along the way, similar like putting things in a shopping basket. So if I start selecting here, I might select something regarding meditation. I can go to some experts. Sam Harris is for me one of the go-to teachers for meditation. Select mode is still enabled. You see it at the bar at the bottom. Now I can select him. Let's see whether I see another person here related to meditation. Not on first sight, but let's just take Richard Feynman. I know I have a stream meditation or mindfulness. So if I go to that stream, I can select items here. Also related items. I will talk about that in a bit. The main thing is that you continue to select, and if you copy those links, then you have them in a convenient form. Just quickly, I paste it here in the private note. You see that you have it in the clipboard with the title and the URL. That way you can quickly paste it into an email or in a chat. So you have the a handy version of the links you selected. When you have it in the clipboard, I clicked here on copy the links. I can also easily connect these items somewhere else. For example, I can paste the content here in the search, and it will show all these items. And now I can connect them from here. Right? I can just connect them, and they will be connected to this source in that case. There's still some fine tuning to be done. You see here some duplicates because we take the different profile URLs. But this is a very convenient way. If I want to, for example, connect these three items here to something else, I can first clear the selection, select only those three items, copy the links, go to another item, paste the links here in the search bar, and now I can connect them quickly. Our roadmap for the multi-select is that this will be persistent over multiple devices, that you can hide the selection, but for now, you can just start using the selection throughout Trickle.
Right.
If you click here on the home button here or refresh the page, the selection is gone. It behaves then similar like a normal selection in another tool. But as long as you don't click this item, but you use the navigation here, it should all be fine. And you can even, go to the connections further down or open here this connection, and it will always be preserved. We extended the related connections. At the moment, if you click on a source, for example, we already extracted in the last version related connection in your Trickle based on the domain. So you see here that's a Goodreads domain. So you see here other books from Goodreads. But now you can add keywords in the private note. And these keywords will be searched for and added to the related connections.
All right.
You can now type in here productivity. And that way, we will show the related connections, also everything that matches either in the title or in the private note, something related to productivity.
And it has to be added as a hashtag?
It has to be added as a hashtag because that's the sign for us that you really mean that keyword. There's no other visual confirmation that this is a keyword, but keywords start with a hashtag, then you can add a word. You can use dashes as optional space characters, meaning note-taking will find note-taking in one word. It will also find note-taking with a space, and it will also find note-taking like this, and finally note-taking like this. I was always annoyed from Twitter that I cannot put space or like some kind of separation between longer hashtags.
Yeah.
So we allow for the dash and the underscore to be added as optional space character.
Right.
But again, it's optional. We are also searching for the word.
But for example, if I write hashtag note taking without space, will it also filter?
No, because that would require the algorithm to look for really every permutation. If you add the dash, that's an optional space character,
Right.
meaning it will also find the one without and the one with a space. If in doubt, add a dash. There are these, for example, note taking. I never know if it's with a dash or without a dash. I think you find both. The best case is to use it with a dash here.
Yeah, yeah.
You will be surprised, at least I was, how often if you add a word like this, you will find many new related connections in your Trickle because it's already searching in the title, and many videos and articles carefully construct their titles to include certain keywords. When I add a hashtag here, I not only define a little bit better here what this is about. This is again a good example. Deep work is a very prominent term. If I add this here, at this point, all the sources that reference deep work also in the title.
Yeah. But it's the title along with the content in the source, right? Or is it just scanning the title?
It's scanning only the title the private note. It's not the full content. We are not saving the full content in Trickle, but we are saving the metadata, which includes the title and the private note, and the domain is also searched for.
Right, right. All right.
Our plan here is also that if you do this, from that on, we know that deep work for you is a keyword. So we can, in the future, reference things better if deep work is in the title or in the description. This is only the start of introducing keywords. It's very hidden. It's mostly for us internally to test how it feels. But already my go-to action when I add a source is that I define 2 or 3 keywords not to remind myself what the source is about, and also to find the references in Trickle. In the past, I didn't do because it's in the title, but now I added often also here in the private note, because then the algorithm will search for deep work because it's especially valuable. And again, in the future, you probably don't have to do that again. Once you defined deep work once as keyword, then it will be always picked up in the title also when you don't mention it specifically. An extension of this is that you can also define other domains. A good example for adding the domain to something is a stream, like for example, movie. If I add imdb.com as domain in the private node, that will scan in the related connections also for IMDb entries. These are all movies that I added in the past to Trickle. Right, they are in my account, but now I find them because I added this domain here to the private node, and I can also add other domains. I could add multiple entries here.
And you just have to separate them with a space bar.
Right? Exactly.
I remember when you showed related connections when it was first released, my first question was whether it's just showing the related connections from the same source. And your answer was yes. But now that we can add text to it and sources to it, we can get a variety of content that can be related in some way.
It gives you more control. I often get already good insights when I add an article to Trickle. Then I get reminded by Trickle that I already have other articles from the same domain. I'm often surprised, actually, especially if it's just 2 or 3 articles, and that allows me to make the connection between this website. But by adding also keywords here, this helps not only to find this faster, but also by just reminding yourself of what you already have as knowledge in Trickle.
True, yes.
The third big update in this release is a simplified add new dialog. You see here that you can add 4 different types of items to Trickle. These reflect here stream, strips, sources, experts. If you want to add a stream, you click here, add new, add stream, and you just write in the title of this new stream. And if you click here, it will be.
Okay. This is what I was wondering, that where did the customization of the stream part go?
So that hands over to this more detailed dialog. Same also at the moment, if you add a source here, it will move to the next dialog and you have to click again. We're working on it that it will be automatic. When you do this on my Trickle, it will be connected to the inbox. That's now connected to the inbox. If you are in an article and you add the connection with the URL, it will be connected to the source. This is also why we add this now here, to make this a little bit more visible. If you add a stream here, it will also be connected, right? You can stay in the context where you currently are. And also, if you get an insight from this, you can write it down here. Keep in mind that this is still an area where we are heavily working on Trickle. It's still not that user-friendly. I would not recommend to go deep into the drips at the moment, into the insights, but it will be in a future release. There's one important difference. You see here the connect from my Trickle button. You don't see this here in my Trickle, because it wouldn't make sense to select something from my Trickle to add it to my Trickle. We thought that's counterintuitive. But if you are in an article or in a source and you click add connection, then you can select from my Trickle. So you select one of the most recent items, or you search for something. If I search now for a source, I can type in a keyword, and then I can connect this, and it will be connected in this context.
And it could be also connected to a stream or an expert, right?
Good. And then we have a few smaller items that we improved. For example, if a source has not a good preview image, then you can take a screenshot from the page. Let me take this, for example. I can now go into edit source, choose a different image, and take a website screenshot. Sometimes it takes a little, but now we are fetching a screenshot from the page where this is coming from, basically a screenshot of this. Then you can save it. I won't do that now, but then you have this as a preview of the source. That's sometimes helpful. It will be triggered automatically also when there's no proper image in the metadata. Another improvement is the handling of PDF files. If you point to a PDF, we'll snap an image of the first page. Maybe I can show it here. Let's see. If I now click in here and reload the metadata, you see what happened. It first of all snapped a picture, and it added the title PDF here. We don't yet have a proper title recognition, but this is the file name. This is a much better appearance. You saw the difference to before. That's basically it. So thank you for recording this video with me.
And thank you.
Talk soon.
Thank you.